Ooh, 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 ooh. Happy Sunday, everybody. What is going on? It's another Savage Sunday. Sunday Savagery is in effect as we speak. As you all know, we are gathered here today on the most savage of Sundays to celebrate and honor horror, darkness, and the unknown. Carpenter, hear our prayer. There is no prompt for today's show. Uh, just kind of had a title for this one and decided to roll with it. That simply being Never Number the Fourth. That is, of course, a nice tribute to Friday the 13th, Part 4, the final chapter. Part 4 is actually not part of the name, so that's kind of where this name for the episode came from. Figured that would be a cool little ditty to poke at there. And yeah, figure on what is the best, most underrated live show on the tube. Uh, your opinions may vary. I don't even know if I completely believe that myself, as much as I would like to, of course. One day it will be. But in honor of one of the finest slasher films, the best Friday the 13th, we didn't really number this one, so to speak. It's got the subtitle, but that's about it. We are here, Sunday Savagery 4, baby. Trying to do this just about every week. Next week, I know I'll be doing the fifth episode. Uh, the sixth episode is going to be sort of delayed and moved, possibly. Not sure if that's going to actually be the week after, but definitely liking this whole coming on, doing some live streams, just trying to get back into that feel. As you guys know already, there is the film project in the works. Was actually working on that earlier, just kind of writing down some more elements for the screenplay. Finally, getting that moving forward a little bit more. Really hyped for that. You guys saw the preview there. Yep, that's exactly it, Miss Carter. A final chapter. Don't try to number it because you know anytime you use final chapter, you're probably going to be coming back for a part 8 or a part 5, whatever your final entry is. Of course, that's pointing to Saw with 7 3D final chapter. The most, I don't know, what's the word? The most complex named of entries, just because there's so damn many names for it. It's kind of like those slashers in the 80s that kind of like Blood Rage, where it's like you have the one title, but you also have the secondary title. The title card doesn't match the poster. I don't know. I love that kind of shit. But you guys know Invasion 46 Maple Lane. That's going to be the ultimate in home invasion sort of thriller horror. It's going to have some nice twists and turns that I think everyone's going to appreciate. Essentially, it's going to be a young couple being stalked in their own house. Of course, unbeknownst to them. You guys know how these home invasions work out. But there's going to be some sadistic shit going on in there. And you guys are not going to want to miss that. Again, I'm probably going to just try and keep the budget funding, just kind of keep that all as independent as possible, because I just don't want to really do the whole reaching out thing until after that comes out, and then maybe for whatever I do after that, maybe then there will be like the crowdfunding type of deal. But figure see what the reception would be to the debut. I don't know, it just feels right. Um, yeah, when it comes to yeah, no, for a fact, I think that's the only one. There are I don't know. I feel like there's some that were like book adaptations that had the final chapter part 1 and the final chapter part 2. Like I know that was like the early 2010s, late 2000s. that was kind of a trend for movie titles. It's like, especially if they're being based off of a book, it's like, hey, we're on the last one, but we're going to split this into 2 films because why not? It's like, I know Harry Potter did that, and I think Twilight did that too. Uh, so that's kind of like the weird little final's not really in the name, I don't think, but they did do the final thing twice, but it was 2 consecutive films. But yeah, no, it is hilarious though how many film series just in general have the final this, the final that, and still come back for a follow up. Like I think The Omen. Uh, yes, yeah, The Omen. Where the fuck are you? There we go. Yeah, The Omen had the final conflict, and then proceeded to do The Awakening, which is something I will not be covering. Particularly, is that a hint to something to come? It absolutely is. I will kind of pointed at this last week, I think. I'm pretty sure I did. I was still kind of running a bit feverish, so don't completely remember exactly what all went down on episode 3 there. But I'm gonna try and pull up something that I've been working on that may or may not be sort of a teaser preview of something to come later in the year. Let's see. Just got to figure out this whole thing here. We'll go mark that down. There we go. So here, if you look right here up at the very top, I might be working toward something that I've done before. Well, let's press play on that bad boy real quick. Hope the audio for it is working. Yes. One more time. It will be coming in October, guys. You know what it is. This is still a work in progress right here. That's why it's just all black screen right now. But it's going to be exploring a few trilogies. Of course, we've got the Hostel trilogy, Night of the Demons. I know some of these have 4th entries and remakes and stuff. We're not going to be regarding those. Poltergeist, Argento's Three Mothers. I don't know. It looks a little Christmassy, but it's supposed to be a little Italian there, you know, like a pizzeria joint. And as an Italian, I feel like I could do that. But I don't know. It just looks so damn Christmassy. That's the one issue there. Tried to go for a sort of heavier green with that. The Fly, the old Fly films, not the Cronenberg film or the sequel. I'm going to be looking at The Lost Boys. Still haven't seen the 3rd one. I think that's The Thirst. Maniac Cop. Going to be taking a look at those. The Omen, which is one of the finest horror trilogies to ever grace this fine planet we live on. I'm going to be revisiting the Firefly trilogy. I did that back in 2020, I think. Yeah, 2020 when I did the first 31 Days. From Dusk Till Dawn. I remember not hating the 3rd one, for what that's worth. Yes, Uncle Filthy's 31 Days of October 3. Let's just play that ending to that little promo. I'm not sure when this thing's done. I decided to get a little jump on it. And I sure as hell hope that it's on the screen proper, because I will feel ridiculous if it weren't. I hope that popped up for sure. But we're going to be doing those. Let's remove that real quick. Let's see. Yeah, that's one of few films that I rage quit on. Like, there's I can only think of two horror films off the top of my head that I actually did not have the mental capacity to sit through, and I hope to change that eventually. Of course, one is The Omen 4, Awakening. It was just too damn silly. And then this Exorcist 2, The Heretic. As soon as I started basically doing, I don't know, it reminded me of Argento's Phenomena when they had her like hooked up to the little probe things or whatever, trying to figure out what the hell her brain's doing and all that jazz, and something about telepathy. Like, no, if I want this, I'll just watch Phenomena. What the hell is going on here in The Exorcist 2? I have no idea. That's another one with an interesting part 4 sort of story there. Because I think the fourth Exorcist, there's like 2 copies of that. It's Dominion and The Beginning, I think. And any time a prequel does The Beginning, that's always a tough area to sort of go through. I know Texas Chainsaw did that pretty well. I really actually dig that one. There's probably a few other creators on this platform who would say, no, we don't need those questions. Nobody asked these questions. We don't need them answered. You know what? Sometimes it's fun. That's what horror is at the end of the day. It's just fun. It's visceral. Sometimes it's not very fun. But when a horror movie can have fun and just be like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's do this. Try this out. That's when the mad respect comes through. Yeah, I could have talked about that last week. I don't know. It's kind of weird with the trilogies within Halloween. Like, there is definitely ground to say, yeah, we've got the Gordon Green trilogy, we've got the Thorn trilogy. You even have the H20 trilogy, which is when you have to knock Resurrection off, which I don't mind. I don't mind knocking it off, and I don't mind Resurrection either. It's a weird sort of relationship I have with that film, as you know. But I was trying to mostly stick with like proper trilogies where it's like there's not going to be like 10 other films that sort of conflict with the narrative there. And I don't know, as much as I love Halloween, I think we all fucking know this by this point. I just didn't feel like something to really try and revisit this year. Of course, I am working on the Devil's Eyes podcast with Chris, so that is sort of the Halloween fix of the year. But overall on this channel, I'm trying to stick with a specific motto. And again, I love Halloween. I love Carpenter. I love Myers. I love Haddonfield. I love all that shit that comes with the Halloween series. But
enough of this Michael Myers bullshit.
Is it fatigue? Perhaps. But, you know, it's, I don't know. I just got to give it a little bit of a break. And again, doing the Devil's Eyes, that sort of doesn't allow me to completely get away from it, which I take it either way. It's like I could dive deep into it again, and I probably will in 2028 for the 50th anniversary, provided that I'm still lucky enough to have the channel going. So yeah, I know during the 50th anniversary, or if something new comes up, naturally I'm going to have to jump back into it. Yeah. Absolutely fucking love it. Yep, that's exactly the main thing of it too. Just kind of a little burnt on it. Just really never thought I would say that I'm burnt out on Halloween. Who would have thunk it, right? But yeah, no, it definitely took a lot out of me, and I'm still kind of feeling it. Supposed to be watching Halloween 2 here in a little while to sort of prep for the episode 2 for the Devil's Eyes. So I don't know if y'all know sort of my evaluation on Halloween 2. It's like, how forward am I looking to that? I never know, because that's the one that I feel like, while it has like the most consistent placement, roughly in the middle of the pack there, It's the one where my feelings on it are sort of on a seesaw, where it's like, I watch it this time, it's brilliant, but I watch it this other time, it's a little played out. It's more of a, it would have worked better as sort of its own one-off story. As a sequel to Halloween, I don't know if I like this. It's a weird relationship because other times I'm like, this is probably the best sequel, and then end up watching something like Halloween Ends. Yes, Halloween Ends. I don't know why I tried to cover that with a cough. I absolutely love Halloween Ends. Uh, but yeah, it's gonna be an interesting one to talk about for sure. Uh, how forward am I looking to again? Who knows? We'll see. But that's going to be a good episode. And honestly, all the episodes going forward, if you guys have already seen the Devil's Eyes podcast, episode 1, uh, I did state in the back end of that episode that that's probably going to be the most vanilla entry of that whole series. So if you saw that and thought that was pretty exciting stuff, oh, buckle up. Buckle up, Buttercup, because it's going to get a lot more interesting and exciting and insightful. There might be points where Snyder and I start to disagree a little bit more down the line on sort of the quality of films or the narrative structure, this, that, or the next. It's a whole thing we're really playing by ear, so yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun there. And it's one thing, whether you're a casual or a diehard Halloween fan, you're going to want to check it out because it's tits. It's already super tits, man. I get tired of it because I'm a casual Halloween fan at best, and seeing it constantly brought up in horror groups is exhausting. And yeah, see, I'm not really even on the social media platforms a whole lot anymore, minus here. I do a little bit of this and that on Twitter, active on the Facebook Messenger, but on Facebook, I don't really go on there too often. And if I do, it's just to kind of see if there's anything big, important going on. One thing I wanted to do is go on there and thank everybody for those birthday wishes last month, but it's been a whole month now. I don't want to fucking thank everybody way late. I look like an asshole if I do that. So, I don't know. But yeah, no, it is kind of what fatigued me in a lot of the horror groups too, even when they say, hey, we're gonna, like Killer Flicks, for example, really great group. There's usually pretty diverse conversation there. I don't know if the algorithm on there sort of generates a lot of Halloween activity, but even when they designate a particular day for Halloween discussion, just because of how heavy of a topic it is, you still can't get away from it because, it'll be fucking middle of the week and you're still seeing these Myers Monday stuff coming up. And it's like, guys, I think we've had this conversation 1,012 times before. I love it as much as y'all. But there are Halloween groups that you can go to, and they don't mind having the same conversation 50,000 times. And I say this as a Halloween diehard. There's a certain level of clouding, I think, in sort of our collective Halloween judgment, where it's like some people are looking at it through we've drinking the pumpkin Kool-Aid a little too heavily. So it's like any disagreement is going to be sort of means for slanderous sort of speech against each other, just talking shit at somebody because it's like, well, I don't personally like Halloween 4 as much as the next guy. I just want to throw that out there. And some people will be like, oh, you're fucking lame. You deserve to delete yourself or something, like, I don't know. I haven't had that sort of, haven't really had anybody think that when I talk about my sort of middle of the road feelings on Halloween 4, which I'm really grateful for. I said 4. It's funny, we're here in the 4th episode. and I had to find a way to sneak Halloween 4 into the conversation. But it's like I'm kind of lukewarm on that film. It's a great film, don't get me wrong, but it's one that I'm just kind of, well, it's Halloween again, just a little different. It's probably the safest in terms of sequels, in terms of sort of the narrative, trying to stick with the formula or get creative. I get tired of it. Oh, I already read that one. Sorry, Miss Carter. That's the one. Come on, bring it up. It's understandable. I thought. Yeah, don't give up Facebook. Just honestly stay away from the drama of certain groups. Like, and it's funny that because as much as I stay off of it, I I'm telling you, no, don't give it up. I've practically given it up, but don't give it up. I don't know, just sort of ironic there. The mods on KF are not doing enough, are not doing good at enforcing group rules, or simply can't keep up. Yeah, I think it might be the latter there. Like, just because of how large of a group it is, I think it is hard for them to sort of keep up with a lot of the goings on there. I know if it's something that propels a lot of smoke, so to speak, like if it sparks a little fire and you can see that smoke, like looking at this connection as sort of a worldwide thing, because people from all over the world are sort of on that group. Uh, Basically, if you're in Florida and you can see the smoke coming from the middle of let's say Europe somewhere, figuratively speaking, that's the point where yeah, we need to contain this and sort of moderate moderate that. But some if it's a little flash in the pan controversy, I think it's easy for them to overlook that, just because I think report rates have something to do with that too. And I'm not one to report something that I'll usually just scroll on by and within reason. If it's something that doesn't belong on there, or it's somebody saying something racially insensitive, like there's a certain point where yeah, you got to really jump on, not just delete said post, but boot boot the member. But uh, the main reason why I've just kind of stayed away from the groups and stuff is the repetitions in the posts, and that's something I'm trying to not have on this channel, because again, that would be sort of the great irony. Because it's like you don't go on to Killer Flicks or this group or that group because you're fatigued by the repetition in their posting, but you make the same damn videos. That's why I'm trying to make shit a little bit different over here. And yeah, excuse me. My throat's still clearing up from being sick a couple weeks ago. But no, that's another thing too that's going on the channel. Obviously, is sort of a desire to do different things, and I think I deleted that little banner there. Shit. Anyway, doing other things on the channel here, like more in-depth essays, I figured that would be a good thing to implement, because again, I've always sort of done that in the review format, where I'll go a little bit in depth, sort of take a look at the deeper meaning of films in my eyes there. And I feel it almost takes away from reviewing the film as just entertaining art. So I figured I could still do those reviews, but try and streamline it to just talking about the film, try and limit it from being a 25 to 30-minute video like they usually are. And if I can separate those elements of film review and analysis, I can get twice the content out of it. And shit, I lost my train of thought. Oh, I could get twice the content out of it. It's like, hey, I want to talk about this movie. I want to talk about it as a movie that's just fun to watch, but I also want to talk about the layers and the depth and the darker side of the meaning here. Like X and Pearl. I want to do reviews for those that are basic, just talking about the film and why they're fun films. But I also want to talk about what the fuck those films really mean to me. There was a stream I did on Good Real Hunting with Brett about a year and a half ago where we talked about that. And of course, I'll be sort of echoing some of those points probably. That's if I remember to go back and watch that as sort of a course refresher. Because there's some things I say in a very deliberate manner, but I think that was sort of a very off the seat of the pants kind of stream there. So that's something that definitely want to do. And that's actually one thing I'm working on too, alongside the 406 Maple Lane script, is an essay for a film that came out. It says 2022 on its Wikipedia page, but it also says 2023 was the main release. That's a film that I enjoyed. It's a newer film, which is actually going to be the theme of next week's episode. But Talk to Me. I was watching that one, and I fell in love with the film. And it's like, wow, the deeper meaning in this film is something I really want to fucking look into. And of course, I watched the little featurette on there. They said that like right away, like right out of the gates, the filmmakers were saying, yeah, Talk to Me is a film that was sort of inspired by this event, which plays into the film, and it's apparently not lost on anybody. It's a very in-your-face sort of thing. And that almost kind of made me want to decide, do I really want to look at Talk to Me then? But I figure, you know what, we'll still go full steam ahead. But next week's Sunday Savagery, guys, is going to be modernization. What does that mean? What the hell are you talking about, Uncle Filthy, with this modernization? What does that even mean? I'll tell you what it means. It's self-explanatory, really. As a lot of y'all know, I tend to watch the older horror films, like up to the 90s, and I still consider stuff from the mid-2000s as new films. That's almost 20 years ago at this point. A la Saw. So the modernization is, of course, going to be me talking about more modern horror films within like the last 10 years. Films that are new to me that might not quite be new films to the masses, like Hereditary. That's one that's been out for, I think, 5 years now. It Follows, I think, came out like 10 years ago. And those are both films that I saw recently in the last week for the first time. What I will say real quick, what the fuck was that in Hereditary? Jesus shit, man. I don't know how I was able to go 5 years without having that scene spoiled. And if you've seen Hereditary, you know what scene I'm talking about. The way that film was marketed, I would have had no fucking idea. Holy shit. But that's what's going on next week. I'm sure y'all are very privy to the fact that I am sort of taking my time on the Carpenter series, as well, you know, I have been for the last 2 years. So how long have it was what, 2020 when I started working on that? 2021 when I started on that. And, you know, I'm still working on it. But I'm going to try and get that done here real soon with the next entry, which, as you guys know, if you're really big into Carpenter, you know that this is going to be the next one, Village of the Damned. Recently, and you can tell I'm actually sort of getting ready for shooting on that. Got the original Village of the Damned here, which I watched in sort of preparation there to sort of get that comparison. I figured if I'd seen both versions of The Thing, got to do that with that one. But yeah, no, for real. Absolutely 1,057% there. Very odd number, I know. Snyder Man, how you doing, man? Snyder is fucking killing it over on his channel. You guys know I just got the Book of Saw series going on. Want to plug that real fast because that thing is fucking amazing. You guys, now if you guys like Saw, you know that Chris is the fucking Saw guy. So over at Movie Misfits, check out the Book of Saw. It's a monthly series. You don't want to miss out on that. Super informative, in depth, and you can tell this dude loves that series because he is putting in the time, putting in the work to tell that story in the most cohesive way I think that has been told. Like, you've had people go through sort of the timelines, but they look at fragments of the timelines. And he's looking at the whole big picture of it, and that is damn admirable. I could probably do that with Halloween. It wouldn't be as exciting because we all fucking know that story. But this man is putting in the work, so check that out. Absolutely, dude. I can tell that's a lot of work there because even doing like little shit, that feels like a lot of work. So I could imagine something to that scale, and with everything else you're doing too. I mean, any of us who are doing stuff on this platform know just what a handful of that shit really is at the end of the day. Those are eras that I'm really into. Of course, the 80s. We all love the 80s. The 90s, you get some pretty solid shit going on there. And that's where the scope of things sort of had to change up a little bit. Slashers, particularly, sort of petered out. I got a fucking shot in the arm. Came back strong. Came back with a scream, if you will. And the 2000s, that's the area where I'm trying to sort of pick up, and into the 2010s, which again, 2000s and 2010s, it's still new movies for me, man. Shit. Like in the last 10 years, I had to realize that things from the 90s are not new anymore. So I think I'll be forever like a decade behind. I don't know. Sort of the way I am with these newer films, it reminds me of one of the great scenes in one of the greatest films of all time, comedy films, that is Dumb and Dumber. Like, when I was watching It Follows, like, I couldn't help but feel like Lloyd Christmas walking out of the bar and seeing the newspaper clipping. We landed on the moon. You know, that's me watching films that have come out like fucking 10 years ago. Uh, we landed on the moon. With that, I want to thank you guys for stopping by. Chris, Miss Carter. Uh, I got the schedules fixed too on these, so I had episode 4 and episode 5 both scheduled for today because, fuck, when I got sick, man, I had to push the shit a week. But you guys know it's always fun. What is the clip that I like to play on the way out? That is just one of the funnest things ever. That's gonna be
Dog will hunt! Get that bitch, Leatherface! Get that bitch! Dog will hunt!
I don't know why that is the ultimate outro clip right there, partially. But I want to thank you guys again for coming through. I definitely appreciate having someone there to sort of help propel the conversation. Doesn't really feel like a full conversation sometimes, but you get the idea. When there's that engagement, it's like all right, now I can sort of bounce back and forth here a little bit cleaner. Hey, thanks, bro. Thank you. That means a lot. Like, I'm trying to get my shit back together here. Like, it's been a year in rebuilding, so doing what I can, man. Miss Carter, it's always fun to have you here. I want to thank you for coming by and really getting the conversation alive there. But you guys know, look forward to Village of the Damned, The Devil's Eyes episode 2. That's going to be on the Movie Misfits Network. I think, next week, episode 5. There's probably going to be other stuff. I'm not sure what it is. Because, you know, there's only a couple things I schedule in stone. But with all that said, I could just yap, and sort of bullshit until the end of the day. We're going to get on out of here. Thank you guys. I'll see y'all next time.